welcome back to Debate Design. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. Usually I take you guys along on the full process of me creating something. So this is actually going to be about something that I did an entire year ago now, which is really exciting and kind of what started the idea for this channel and, you know, me trying to take a chance on myself. It's an entertaining story behind that. Told this story in bits and pieces, and I've gone back and forth about how much that I want to share in this particular video, but I feel like context is important to kind of tell you how we got where we are now. It hasn't been a year since I started the channel, but now it has been a year since I decided to kind of like take a chance on myself and my career and really try and make something on my own. I'm a fashion designer, that's pretty obvious, content creator as well. But fashion design is my main passion in life. Not sure that I ever want to work for a company, maybe potentially in the future if the right company arises. But my ideas are my own, and they're kind of a little bit out there and usually inspired by very deeply personal things. So I wanted to create all of these ideas and not have to wait and worry about whether or not there's a company out there who would enjoy them. So I decided to do them myself. And that was sparked by a rather upsetting event that happened to me that I turned into a better situation. And that's something that I do often in my life, is take really bad things that happen to me, usually on the 26th of a month, which is weird and the universe's way of saying, hey, this is what you need. To take things, bad things that happen, and make them into something, a way to better my life and change it all over again. Kind of like, I don't know, dyeing your hair at 3 a.m. I did that when this bad thing happened to me last year in August 26th, weirdly. I was not going to let it push me further back, and I wanted to do something different. So what you can see from the title was create a collection out of my ex-boyfriend's belongings. So let's go back a little bit further so that you can understand the context of the situation. When I was 18 years old, I met a guy. Boo! There's some boos in the chat for men. And we started seeing each other. We were on again, off again for about 6 total years. There were 2 years where we didn't speak to each other. In the 2 years that we didn't speak, I did still think of him often. It was always a what-if situation. Listen, when we are 22 years old, we're not always incredibly smart, okay? We hadn't spoken for a few years. About a week after my 23rd birthday, he came into my mind. I passed by a place that we had visited together, and I was like, I'll just shoot him a text. I'll shoot him a text. I don't know, I'm feeling a little bit crazy. I'm feeling a little bit wacky. Shoot him a text. At this time, you know, he's living back at home, states away. And we get back in contact, we talk a little bit, and then I'm like, hey, why don't you come visit? Now, guys, let's be real with each other for a second. It's never a good idea to have your ex that lives states away come visit you and for you think nothing is gonna happen. It's just a silly, quirky little thing to do. Everybody does it sometimes.
No.
It's bad, and it's wrong, and you shouldn't be doing it. Obviously, we get back together eventually. After some time, I tried, okay? Things kind of progress rather quickly, and he moves up to the state here, and we move out of the place that I was living in. I end my lease there early, and we move into a place together. Wow, how sad. So we move in together. We're together for a while. As far as I know, things are fine. I do kind of feel that things are off. I ask him about it several times over the course of several months. He just kind of tells me I'm in my own head. We have a few fights, but for the most part, I didn't have a lot of reasons based off of his words to think that something was inherently wrong. But intuition, you know, it'll get you. We're around, I want to say, May of 2022. He tells me he's going to start applying for jobs within his field so that I can quit my job and he can just be the full income. I say, okay, great, do that, babe. Important to note that we live on the East Coast. He applies to jobs on the West Coast. I don't really understand this, and I ask him about it, and he tells me, well, you never know what you might get. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess I can pick up my entire life and move, even though I basically just did that a year and a half ago. And I don't entirely want to do that, but I definitely can. It's not that I like where I live, particularly I am planning on moving, and I have been planning on moving for a while, but it's the fact that it would not be of my own volition or really choice. But I was willing to follow him because I'm a little insane. So I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. I keep asking him questions throughout the interview process. He gives me pretty non-committal answers, which is definitely a sign and causing a lot of anxiety. And I bring it up several times, talk to him about it several times, but he just won't really give me an answer. And that's because he wasn't sure he was going to get the job. When he does get the job, he sits me down and tells me it's over. But within that conversation, I'm like, what if instead we just try and work out our issues while you go ahead and move up there now, and I stay behind and finish out the lease? Better yet, I'll help you move across the country. You need someone to help you move. I can help you move. I help him move across the country. We plan a cross the country trip together. He says, I love you. We'll work it out. Everything will be fine. We go across the country. I bring some of my own stuff. Stay up there for 2 weeks. And then I fly back home. Of course, spend the rest of our lease settling things. I'm back home for about 2 weeks. I call him one night. And he's really weird on the phone. And he breaks up with me in a 12-minute call. Pretty brutal. He told me every day he loved me. When he broke up with me, he told me he hadn't loved me for at least 6 months. So needless to say, this was a pretty violently upsetting breakup, 12-minute phone call. And I get pretty much nothing from him, and I laugh at him when he breaks up with me, matter of fact, because I was like, I should have known. I should have known. It was right there in front of my face. So what do you do with that information? You spiral out of control, as one does. I kind of lost my shit. Well, in the middle of this whole him getting a new job process, he'd obviously left behind some of his clothing, as well as I'm a designer, and I'm a really nice girlfriend. And I was like, hey, why don't you go pick out some fabric and I will make you custom clothing that you can wear to your new job, since you have to wear different kinds of clothing that you don't wear because you only wear t-shirts to this job. So he goes and he picks out fabric and he leaves it behind with me, and I'm gonna make him the custom clothing, right? Don't get a chance to start on it, considering the fact that I helped him move across the country and then I just got home and went back to work in my own life for 2 weeks. But I was supposed to sit down and work on it by the time our anniversary came around so I could give him these things. Luckily, I hadn't. So after this breakup, spiraling out of control and creating a lot of TikTok content for it that garnered a lot of attention, which I'm very thankful for, but does make me look a little bit insane and leaves a giant internet footprint, which I sometimes wish I didn't have. I did ship him some of his things and put everything in the package, and I kept finding clothing and kept getting angrier at him because, well, he sucked. So, and I create this collection, and I decide that the coolest thing to do, obviously, since it's about a breakup, is go to a graveyard and shoot me, my sister-in-law and friend, as well as another friend of mine, in the clothing, in a graveyard, really angry, and make it look all spooky, because it was also Halloween time, and it's kind of a Halloween-themed collection, randomly, but it's mostly Reputation by Taylor Swift theme. Let's just be honest with each other. So I decided that I was going to shoot the whole thing in a graveyard. It came out incredibly cool. My best friend and resident photographer, Kensley, shot the whole thing for me, edited it, and was able to send most of it within one day. Weirdly enough, I decided to shoot this on October 26th. I did not pick the day for the date, even though the breakup with said ex was on August 26th, as well as another even better and crazier breakup of mine happened on May 26th in 2020. And I also moved back to the East Coast on August 26th of 2021. So, or no, 2020. I'm a liar. So obviously the 26th had significance to me, and I realized this as I just go ahead and post the collection. I just sit there, I get the photos, and I immediately post about it. I make no real judgment call except that I'm like, I want to post about it now. I post it, and then I look at the date and I go, it's fucking 26, which is so, too much of a common theme in my life to ignore at this point. And that was really profound to me, and kind of the first time that I realized all these life-changing things on these one particular day, which is insane and something to take note of, and why I started kind of this trend of releasing things that are really important to me on the 26th, and the Barbie collection on the 26th of every month. What do I call this? Well, of the lovely little TikTok videos that I created from the breakup, one of them that was really funny is there was a joke with my friends, because all of my friends hated him. A joke that he was kind of public enemy #1. And we were like, what if we made a t-shirt that said public enemy #1 with his name on it? And I did on TikTok because I thought it would be funny, and I was going insane. You know that. You heard what happened. Anyone would go insane. I thought it was a hilarious joke, and I was like, what if I named it that? This collection's Weirdly inspired by Reputation by Taylor Swift, there's snakes involved. It's kind of Halloween themed. It's also breakup themed. It's a lot of things themed. Public Enemy #1 seems hilarious, so I did. And I named all of the pieces after different Taylor Swift song titles and or lyrics. And I just had a really great time with it. I enjoyed making the content about it. I honestly wish that I filmed it more, but it was a really tumultuous and insane time for me in my life. I decided after I made that collection that I kind of wanted to do content creation, and I started planning the Barbie series, which I ended up being able to do this past year. I started planning it right after that. I was like, it's kind of important to me to try and get this out sometime in the spring. It obviously doesn't make sense for fall, and I started redesigning looks and planning out how the videos would be and where this fashion show was going to take place. So it kind of sparked like the start of this entire thing, and it just came from like this like insanely bad thing that happened when I was 24, right after my 24th birthday. I also forgot to mention that I helped to move across the country during my birthday, and it was the second worst birthday of my life. So a couple things to take from this. Breakups aren't the end of the world. A lot of times, they're actually the beginning of something much, much better for you. And that doesn't have to be romantic, as I've learned. That could also just be a really big move. Career change, taking a chance on yourself, a funny dress, funny TikTok even. Even if that's better than the relationship, you probably shouldn't have been in the relationship if the TikTok is better than your relationship. Which it was. Never move across the country for a man. Even if you've known this man your whole life, it's probably not going to work out. Maybe pessimistic of me, I don't trust men like that. Especially don't move across the country with a man who is quite literally broken up so many times you start losing count. That's a little insane. Number 3, life goes on. 4, notice the patterns in your life. Maybe take stock of them and turn them into something important. I like to think the universe teaches us things in weird ways. Lastly, I don't know. Go insane when you have a breakup. It helps. It really does help. Maybe later you'll regret it and be a little bit embarrassed, but here's the thing. And we're all on a floating rock. I'm embarrassed of things that I posted about this breakup, and what I did instead was give you guys an entire rundown of my terrible love life and why I created a collection out of his clothing. And it came out great. It came out fantastic, and I don't regret it. I don't regret the collection at all, and if I had not gone insane on TikTok during those moments, I probably wouldn't have created the collection, because it was absolutely created out of spite. But some of the best things are! Anyway, this was kind of just like a bonus, rambly, storytime celebration of the 1-year mark of when I first released my first ever collection. I'm still really proud of it. I think that it was really fun. I hope that I continue to grow as an artist and do more fun, wacky things like this. This is my favorite part of designing, creating wacky ideas. And I hope I get to do it forever. And I hope it becomes my full-time job. Later today, you get your regular Barbie series video. This is just a nice little bonus episode that I decided to film and talk to you guys about. So I will see you incredibly soon. I will see you at 8:30 p.m. Central Time. I hope you enjoyed this. And if you ever want to know more about my dating life, follow me on TikTok. But also, probably ask. I'm a little bit too much of an open book, and I'm trying to change that. But until then, I guess you can get answers. So, about who I'm dating now, that you will never know. That you will not know. You don't get to see their face. Sorry. Anyways, love you guys. See you very soon.